Imagine stepping into a room and seeing a painting that stares back at you with eyes so piercing, you almost forget it's just paint on canvas. That's the effect of Frida Kahlo's art. Her self-portraits are not just pictures of herself. They are coded messages, diaries of pain and survival, and windows into a world where myth and magic collide with raw reality. Today, we're decoding the secret messages hidden inside Frida Kahlo's paintings, the layers of suffering, culture, and symbolism that make her one of the most fascinating artists of the 20th century. Frida Kahlo's life was marked by tragedy and resilience. At the age of 18, she was in a devastating bus accident that shattered her body and left her in pain for the rest of her life. That pain became one of the most powerful codes in her art. Every scar, every wound, every tear that appears in her paintings is a way of translating the unbearable into images. Take her work, The Broken Column, painted in 1944. In it, she depicts herself standing rigid, her torso split open to reveal a crumbling ionic column instead of a spine. Nails pierce her skin and tears run down her face. At first, it feels brutal, almost unbearable to look at. But this is not just a portrait of pain. It's a secret message about endurance. The column may be broken, but it's still standing. Frida is saying, "I am still here." Kahlo used her own image over and over, but each time it carried different symbols and meanings. In Self-Portrait with Thorn Necklace and Hummingbird, she wears a necklace of thorns that digs into her neck, drawing blood. A dead hummingbird hangs from the center, while a black cat lurks behind her shoulder. The thorns echo the crown of Christ, suggesting sacrifice and suffering. But the hummingbird, in Mexican folklore, is a symbol of good luck and love. The painting is like a coded letter, a confession of pain. And then there is her use of animals. Monkeys, parrots, dogs, and deer appear again and again in her paintings. Some of them were her real pets, but they also served as symbols. The monkey, for instance, was often linked to lust and mischief in Mexican tradition, but in Frida's hands, it becomes a companion, a guardian. In Self-Portrait with Monkey, the animal clings to her shoulder almost protectively, as if reminding us that even in solitude, she was never truly alone. But Frida's symbols didn't stop with animals. She often wove elements of Mexican mythology and folklore into her art. In her painting Roots, vines and plants grow from her chest, spreading across the earth. It's a reference to fertility, creation, and the life force of nature. But at the same time, the image suggests vulnerability, the body opening up, the self becoming part of the soil. It's both magical and unsettling, and it reflects her deep connection to indigenous traditions and beliefs. Frida also used clothing as a symbolic code. She often painted herself in the traditional Tehuana dress, with elaborate headpieces and flowing skirts. On one level, this was a tribute to Mexican identity and pride. On another, it was a mask, a way of constructing her own image. By dressing herself in the costume of tradition, she could declare strength even as her body was breaking down inside. One of her most haunting paintings is The Two Fridas, painted in 1939 during her divorce from Diego Rivera. In the painting, two versions of herself sit side by side, holding hands. One wears a white European-style dress, her heart exposed and bleeding. The other wears the Tehuana dress, her heart whole and strong. The two are connected by veins, but the one in white struggles to stop the bleeding with surgical scissors. The secret message here is about identity torn between two worlds, European and Mexican. Loved and abandoned, fragile and powerful. Her relationship with Diego Rivera was itself a constant code in her art. Sometimes she painted him lovingly, placing his image on her forehead as if he lived inside her mind. Other times, she painted herself wounded and bleeding because of the turmoil he caused. Their love story was messy, passionate, and painful, and her paintings became letters written in color, telling truths she couldn't always say aloud. Frida also played with magical and surreal elements that blur the line between reality and dream. In The Wounded Deer, she paints herself as a deer pierced by arrows, stumbling through a forest. It's shocking, but it's also symbolic. A message about fate, about feeling trapped by a body that constantly betrayed her. The deer was a sacred animal in many traditions, and by merging herself with it, she was expressing both vulnerability and resilience. Even her still lifes carried secret meanings. Fruits split open, flowers blooming, roots entangled. Each object a metaphor for her inner life. A sliced watermelon might seem simple, but in her painting, Viva la Vida, the fruit becomes a defiant symbol of joy painted just days before her death. The words "Long live life" scrawled across the melon are her final message, her last code of resilience. It's impossible to separate Frida's art from her identity. Every symbol, every secret message is tied to her life, her pain, her culture, her politics, her loves. She once said, "I never paint dreams or nightmares. I paint my own reality." And in that reality, myth and magic were as real as scars and suffering. Standing before a Frida Kahlo painting is like reading her diary written in symbols. The thorns, the monkeys, the blood, the flowers. They all speak a language that's both personal and universal. They tell us about her struggles, but they also invite us to think about our own. What pain do we carry? What myths give us strength? What symbols do we wear without even realizing it? So the next time you see one of Frida Kahlo's paintings, step closer. Look into her eyes. Notice the hummingbirds, the roots, the costumes, the scars. Ask yourself, what message is she leaving here, hidden in plain sight? Because Frida's art is more than autobiography. It's a code made of pain and myth and magic. A code that still speaks, long after her brush has left the canvas.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Feel free to share it with a friend who loves a good mystery. And if you haven't already, please subscribe so you won't miss the next story. There's a lot more to uncover, and I'd love to have you along for the journey.